Hey, Shalom family, Most High in Christ bless. Officer Yahalom with IUIC Dallas. You are tuned in to Casting Down Idols, all right? Today on the chopping block, we have Mictēcacihuātl, all right? We're going to go cast down that idol today. Let's go ahead and get Aztec mythology. Aztec mythology, the first link.
Aztec mythology is a body or collection of myths of the Aztec civilization of central Mexico.
That's it. So Aztec mythology is a body or collection of myths, all right? Myths. We know myth is something that's widely held, but a false belief or idea, all right? So we know it's not true, all right? Let's get Mictēcacihuātl. Mictēcacihuātl. Go ahead.
Mictēcacihuātl, meaning Lady of the Dead, in Aztec mythology, is a death deity and consort of Mictēcacihuātl, god of the dead and ruler of Mictēcacihuātl, the lowest level of the underworld.
Read.
Her role is to watch over the bones of the dead.
Watch over the what?
The bones of the dead.
Of the dead. Read.
And preside over ancient festivals of the dead. These festivals evolved from Aztec traditions into modern Day of the Dead.
It said these festivals evolved from Aztec traditions, all right, unto the modern Day of the Dead. Read.
After synthesis with Spanish traditions.
After the merging with Spanish traditions. And these Spanish traditions is not talking about you so-called Hispanics today. It's talking about who? The Spanish is the Spaniards, the conquistadors, the people who came and conquered your land, the same people who came and conquered your people. This is the Spanish that we're reading about. Let's get the short now. What are we looking at? We're looking at the modern day worship of Aztec mythology of Mictēcacihuātl. Let me get the images now. Let's get the images, brothers. Let's get the images. We just read that stems back from Aztec culture. All right. Many of our brothers and sisters today are partaking in the Day of the Dead, but you really don't even know what you're celebrating. You have no idea that you're worshiping an idol from the time before. Let's get the link now. Let's get the conversion.
Aztec mythology tells that Mictēcacihuātl was sacrificed as a baby and magically grew to adulthood in the underworld.
So remember, the Aztec mythology is a book or collection of myths. This is the myth that we're reading about this idol who today many of our brothers and sisters are worshiping when they celebrate the Day of the Dead. Read.
Where she married. With her husband, she presided over the underworld.
Read on.
Mictēcacihuātl, who is often depicted with flayed skin.
With flayed skins, meaning she was skinned. Read.
And a gaping skeletal jaw.
And a gaping, meaning open skeletal jaw. That's where the art and you see the painting of the jawline come from. Because the image, which we will show later, her skin was flayed and she had the jawline exposed. Read.
Was linked to both death and resurrection.
They said this idol is linked to death and resurrection. Read on.
According to one myth, Mictēcacihuātl and her husband collected bones so that they might be returned to the land of the living and restored by the gods. The Aztecs appeased these fearsome underworld gods by burying their dead with food and precious objects. Archaeologists and historians know relatively little about the details of the month-long celebration of Mictēcacihuātl.
So back then, they celebrated for over a month, celebrating or worshiping Mictēcacihuātl. Read.
But say it likely involved burning incense.
Burning incense.
Song and dance.
Songs and dancing.
And blood sacrifice.
And blood sacrifices. Give me the ofrendas now. Let's get the ofrendas. Let's zoom in for me. Look at this. We know what these ofrendas are. They're altars. Altars to who? To the dead. Look what's down there. You see food. We feed the drinks, the incense, and so forth. This is the same thing that we just read. Give me Isaiah 65, verse 2.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 2. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people.
The Lord said we are a rebellious people. Read.
Which walketh in a way that is not good, after their own thoughts.
Read on.
A people that provoketh me to anger continually to my face.
The Lord said we are provoking him to anger today. Those of you who celebrate or worship Mictēcacihuātl, the Day of the Dead, you are provoking God to anger. Read.
That sacrifice in gardens and burneth incense upon altars of brick.
Upon altars of what?
Of brick.
Look at, that's what the ofrendas is, a altar. The Lord said that is provoking him to anger. Give me the next. Give me the cartoons. It said we constantly provoke the Lord to anger. Give me the cartoons now. Give me the cartoons. Look at this. Maya and the Three. This is a cartoon, a children's cartoon with Aztec idols as the main characters. Doing what? So our children can have that implanted in their mind and give reverence and honor to these idols. God said this is provoking him to anger. Give me the next one. Oh, look at that. Coco. Many of you brothers and sisters today know what this cartoon is. This cartoon is what? It's about the Day of the Dead. It's about the Day of the Dead. Give me the next image. Give me the next image of the cartoons. What is going on here? He's speaking to the dead relatives. Give me Deuteronomy 18, verse 10. Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10.
Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits.
A consulter of what?
Familiar spirits.
A consulter of familiar spirits is speaking to the dead. We're seeing it right here in this cartoon where he's speaking to his dead relatives. The Lord said there should be none amongst you who partakes in that sin. Not for the children of Israel. You black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you are not supposed to do that. You are the children of Israel. And my so-called Mexican brothers out there today, you are the tribe of Issachar. God said you shall not do those things. Now let's get blending cultures.
Blending cultures. The Spanish invaders of Mexico were Catholic, and they worked hard to evangelize native peoples. They stamped out lingering indigenous beliefs. They demolished religious temples, burned indigenous idols, and destroyed Aztec books.
So what did they do? When the conquistadors came and conquered this land and conquered the people, what did they do? It said they burned, they destroyed the idols. They destroyed all the temples that today's so-called Mexicans, which were the Aztecs, was actually worshiping in. Read on.
But indigenous people in Mexico, as across the Americas, resisted.
They did what?
Resisted Spanish efforts to eradicate their culture.
Read.
Instead, they often blended their own religious and cultural practices with those imposed on them by the Spanish.
It said they did what? They blended their own religious and cultural practice with those of the Catholic Church. Let's see what spawned out of that. Give me the Santa. It said they merged Aztec mythology with the Catholic Church's beliefs. And what do we have today? Give me the image. Give me the image of it. Give me the image. What is this? Santa Muerte. Most of our brothers and sisters today partake in this. Many of our brothers and sisters today partake in worship in Santa Muerte. This came out of merging Aztec mythology with the Catholic Church. Read.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
The Lord said you should have no other gods before him. Read on. Is that it? Go to Wisdom of Solomon 14.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 and verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
This was the beginning all the way back to the Garden of Eden. Spiritual fornication, the devising of idols, all the way back from the beginning. Read.
And the invention of them, the corruption of life.
This is the corruption, verse 22.
Moreover, this was not enough for them. that they erred in the knowledge of God, but whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues caused a peace.
So it said it was not enough for them that they erred in the knowledge of God. That's what we're seeing today. Many of our brothers and sisters are doing what? They're celebrating or worshiping an idol. Mictēcacihuātl. They're worshiping this idol, not even understanding where it come from. Celebrating and partaking into the day of the dead, not understanding that you're erring from the knowledge of God. Read.
For whilst they slew their children in sacrifice, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites.
Revelings of what?
Strange rites.
Revelings of strange rites. Rites is religious ceremony or a custom or a practice. That's what we just got done reading today. That's what our brothers and sisters are doing today when they lay down the ofrendas, when they put the favorite food or they put the drinks, the tequilas, the incense down for their loved ones, their dead loved ones. That's what we're reading today. That's exactly what we're reading right now. Let's get last one. Let's get what offerings are to Mictēcacihuātl. Let's get that one.
What are the offerings to Mictēcacihuātl? Offerings of ceramics, flowers, food, and drink are presented. The cemetery bell tolls all night long, calling out to the dead. Participants say they can feel the wind pick up as spirits are blown back to the earth.
You see that? It said, what are the offerings? Ceramics, flowers, food, and drinks. All of these items you will see on the day of the dead. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 49.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. The
Lord said he was going to send another nation from one end of the earth to the other side. Who are we reading about? We're reading about the Spaniards, the Spanish that came to the Americas and conquered the Aztec Empire, that conquered you so-called Hispanics. Read.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Read on.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
The Lord put these curses upon the children of Israel because they was worshiping of the gods. All right? Lord's will, you brothers and sisters, was edified. With that, we say shalom.
What is a nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word